The single most important aspect of Holocaust revisionism is surely the number of Jews that died. The cause of death is both secondary and inherent to the number itself. If the death toll was only in the hundreds of thousands, as per revisionist estimates, then after subtracting those that died of illness and starvation, the prospect of mass gassings on a continental scale is automatically reduced to a lot of hot air. But unlike the complex and technical nature of the evidence for and against homicidal gas chambers, estimating the overall death toll is quite simple and straightforward. All you need to know is the total number of Jews under Nazi occupation and the proportion of those that died. How they died, why, where, and at whose hands are important questions, which I might address in separate videos. But first, let's try to crunch the numbers. There is some debate on the number of Jews that fell under Nazi occupation. However, most of the variance between the mainstream and revisionist estimates is due to the proportion of those that died, rather than the overall population size. Now here's the kicker. The difference between the two narratives is staggering. For example, 10% versus 90% survival rate in Poland, such that 5 to 10 times more Polish Jews died according to mainstream historians than the entire combined death toll of European Jewry according to revisionists. If revisionist estimates are accurate, the null hypothesis of 6 million victims can be readily rejected with even a small sample of reliable eyewitness accounts. And even a null hypothesis of 2 million should be easily rejected. But how can such eyewitnesses be located? Obviously, the victims themselves are unavailable for questioning. What we do have, however, are some of the victims' immediate family members and their direct descendants. Many young Jews immigrated from Europe to Israel and America around the 1930s, leaving their families behind. These individuals, and to a certain extent their children and grandchildren, should be well positioned to know how many of their own flesh and blood perished. So why not simply ask them? Why not conduct a survey asking Jews what the survivability rate was in their own family? Was it closer to 10% or 90%? Even a handful of accounts can provide a ballpark estimate for the total death toll. Unless you believe that a random sample of Jews would actively participate in perpetuating a hoax, this seems like a solid method for truth-seeking revisionists. Alas, to my knowledge, no revisionist has ever tried this simple method.